Affliction, Salem, 1692, second edition. This video is being made in 2024, right before the Halloween season.
Yeah.
Perfect time to play this game. We have Evil Jeff over there, Fenny Rob over here. We just got done playing what would have been Jeff's second game, but I've played it far more times than he has. But I had not played it for at least 2, maybe 3 years before today. My thoughts of this game have always been that it is very historically immersive. You have all of the people who were players in the Salem witch trial fiasco back in the day. And I think the game does a really good job of capturing that here. Now, to me, the difference between first and second edition is very minor. You have the defensive bonus that Board Game Geek had told us early should have been 6 or was better with 6, but the original had 5. And there were a couple of other things with starting cards and things that made it just the slightest bit more streamlined and easy to get to the table. But overall, if you have access to the first edition, I'm not sure that there's anything significant in there that's going to make or break the experience to me. I think this feels like a war game, especially at 2 players. But I will say with 3 and 4 players, to me, it tends to be a little bit more chaotic because there's no zero-sum game to that. It may be that you lose out on something, but it doesn't hurt the player who's really winning the game. And so to you, you're kind of in third place now, whereas in the 2-player game, I feel like the push and pull feels like I'm affecting what's happening to you and vice versa. So to me, this feels sort of like a war game set in Salem. I'm trying to defeat the people by arresting them to get points, and I'm trying to build my colonies or cities is my circle of protection.
Yeah.
It's like my walls are the defensive bonus over here. What do you think?
Yeah, this is my second time playing the game. We played one game a couple days ago off camera just so that I could be introduced to it. And 2 players, I agree. I think it's tense because you are essentially attacking each other by arresting people that are in each of our circles and trying to get them into yours, although it is expensive to do that. So it's not easy, but there's a lot of defense, a lot of offense going on in this game. The one thing that I do find, besides it being a bit of an attack game or a war game to some extent, is it still is an engine building.
You're right.
And point accumulation. And what I like about the game is the balance between the 3 things, right? So you're trying to either attack or defend, and that's one thing. And then you're also trying to build your engine within your circle, because the circle is what gives you the ability to do stuff.
Right. Some of them are continuous, and some of them you actually have to go and waste a meeple resource.
But if
we can talk about those.
But if you build enough of enough benefit or things in your circle, when you activate this, many things happen then.
Right.
Potentially.
Right, potentially.
And so it's like you're getting extra actions, if you will. So that's the engine building side. But you can't win the game really just by building that engine. You have to also be putting people into, stockade or
the gallows.
Or burning them at the stake. But that's arresting them, because arresting is where the points accumulate much higher than they do in the circle side.
Well, it feels like that, but the fact is, if you can bring people into your circle that are obviously for me, it was the Putnams in my circle, and I wanted to arrest the Proctors. They're worth 2 points, no matter where they are.
Sure.
And every card, whether it's in arrest or in the circle, is worth 1 point. So it does feel like there's the arrest pile is where your money is made, but I think that depends on how we're playing the game.
Well, but there's a finite number of people that you're trying to arrest or to bring in.
That's true. And once you bring them into your circle, then you would have to then wrest them from the other players' circle of protection.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, at the end of the day, we were almost even up I mean, both times we've played, my first time and then this is now the second time, it was a 2-point game.
Right. It came down to 2 points, and we were deep into the grievance card is where the game was won or lost.
Where it was changed, yeah. And you really don't know when you're playing where you truly stand, which I like too, because you just don't know how it's going to go. And
yeah,
so
I
you
didn't
don't
feel out of it.
Yeah.
Either time we played, it didn't feel like it was a blowout either way. In fact, at one point in the last game, we thought that it was not close.
Yeah.
But it turned out it was closer than we thought.
Yeah. And this time I thought I was doing a little better, and it turned out the same.
Right.
But
I'll put at the end of this video, you'll see a link to our playthrough. And I will put up here in the corner a little rules overview. It's very brief, but at least you'll get a chance to kind of see what we're doing here, so I don't have to rehash it here. Because there's not a lot of coverage on this game, which is kind of sad to me, because to me, there's another game that we love to play. It's Salem. I think it's also 1692, but it's a social deduction game that plays up to 8 players. It's a great game, and it's the same characters.
Yeah.
It's historically adjacent for sure. This one feels a little bit more historical because I think what they do, but that game also has special powers for the different people.
Yeah, it does. It's more of a social game, though.
And it is still a little creepy because the subject matter is really, really dark.
It is dark.
But we've played both of those games, but this one feels, I don't know, it's very immersive to me. If it were fall and, we had a pumpkin spice going and a fire and it was a little cool, this would feel a little Halloween creepy to me.
This game is very clever, and it intrigues me a lot, not just because of the thematic aspect of it, but I really just am drawn to the concept of the engine building, the point accumulation side, which I know it can be on both sides, but it seems a little different going on the rest side. But then you've got this placement track here where
you're flow of actions,
and it's in an order that really makes it difficult sometimes to do what you want to do, because you really want this to be done before you do this, but it's down here. And so you have to start here, and it executes in this order of numbers. And so the cleverness of the design to me is just, I'm impressed with people that can do this sort of thing and get it well balanced, or at least it seems to be balanced, because in 2 times that we've played, it's been a 2-point game. So
right, and in the other times I've played it, it's been equally as close. It's just that with more players, it seems to go on longer to me, because there's too many. This does have a take that element to it. You kind of control, because the game ends when the colonists, you're in the bottom 8 cards of the deck, basically. Mm-hmm. And if you're just building an engine, you're still removing cards as you go. But there are ways to delay by accumulating just resources and putting things down. And with 3 and 4 players, while it was fun, I feel like 4 players, depending on who was playing the game, some people got bored because they just didn't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, you have to really be wanting to fight in this game to enjoy it. And I'm probably doing it a disservice by making it seem like you're constantly attacking each other.
Yeah, and it really probably shouldn't be characterized as a war game.
Right.
Because it's
not in a traditional sense, for
not
sure.
in a traditional sense. But I think when we say a war type game, we just mean it's more of a take that, because you're stealing from each other.
Yes, you're either in actions or preventing, blocking, whatever it might be. It is definitely an adversarial game from the beginning. Even though it seems like, I'm just adding someone here. You've got your grievances where there's 3 people you really want to arrest. They're worth 2 extra points, and ones you're trying to protect. They may come out, they may not.
Well, and you're putting fear on the other player's cards so that they can't do the thing that they're supposed to do.
Right, you're blocking their engine.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of that But yeah, it's not a war game per se in the traditional sense, but it is definitely warlike in that you're attacking each other and preventing each other from doing things.
Right. Well, what do you think about the luck factor? When you played it the first time, you seemed to be a little bit concerned that there might be cards moving through that you might not be able to get. Given the closeness of the game, do you feel like that is a deal breaker for you? If there's someone that didn't come out for your grievance?
That is just the one thing about the game that, again, it's a very minor thing, but to me, I know that the grievance card is like an objective card.
It is.
You're trying to arrest certain people and protect others. And, it's a very minor thing, but there's a potential for a few of these cards to not come out because the game ends before those occur. Now, at the same time, I will say that it's been so close that I'm not sure it really matters. There's other ways to maybe make it up.
Right. I feel like I definitely left about 6 to 10 of my meeple actions. And to point out, in a 2-player game, you get 3 meeples to place out. In the 3 and 4 player, it's 2 per player.
Yeah.
So you have even less actions you do with more players.
Yeah.
But most war games,
so no, it's not a deal breaker.
Most games that tell a story or have some sort of recreation of a historical event have to inject some luck into the matter. Otherwise, the outcome is already determined.
Sure.
So I don't feel like it chips me out. If I lose this game by 2 points because you got one more grievance than me, I'm not going to feel bad about myself, because that meant I put up a really good fight and I wasn't wasting a lot of my actions.
Yeah. I guess it just, to me, I'm not sure that it adds a whole lot to the play. Because if you take that away, for example, and you just play, and I'm not saying you would want to, because I think it's okay to have it, but to take it away, then it's just purely going after the cards that we are trying to either bring into our circle or to arrest, and then of course we're still blocking. So I mean, the gameplay is almost the same exactly.
I see what you're saying, and I don't know that it would break the game. I think what you'd end up having is possibly more ties. And I don't know, again, Dan, if you're watching, the designer, if you want to put something in the comment, that would be great. To me, it seems like it's a way, it seems like the points are very tight because you know exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
That part isn't in doubt. You know you need to arrest people with wealthy people, preferably of the other person's, the people you hate.
Yeah.
And then you definitely want to keep those away from your opponent. So you know kind of what you're looking for. I think what you're saying is the decision might be is I take this guy who removes a fear as opposed to getting someone who puts fear. So you choose your engine in that way.
Yes.
And I'll make a deal with you. Next time we play this game, we will play without the grievance cards and see what happens.
See what happens, yeah. Just it'd be interesting to see.
The more I play games, the more I'm starting to figure out, I think, that the objective card, in addition to being a thematic element, because I do think that it does add theme to the game, you hate these particular people more.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you're already accusing people of witchcraft.
Right.
So this kind of adds to the hysteria, and I like that. But any game that has an objective card introduces luck into the mix. So, I mean, Twilight Imperium can go on for 10 hours. And at the end of the day, if I have an objective card that I just happen to luck into, I can win the game. So at least in this one, you're talking about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Probably. And it doesn't feel long. At 2 players, it doesn't feel long at all.
It's just the right amount.
It was right. It was just the right amount.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I don't know if you'd want to change that. It might be that if you want to play a game that doesn't have an objective card, you can play chess. You can play any abstract, usually that is considered to be no luck, Hansa Teutonica. But even that has bonus tiles. So, you know, it's just a matter of, do you enjoy losing a game by 2 points possibly, if, that card doesn't come out in the deck.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, on the fun factor, this game is at least an 8 out of 10 in fun factor. And then when you introduce the theme into it, and there's really not a lot of games that do this well with this kind of subject.
Yeah, and I just want to say for those watching, we spent a bit of time dwelling on the grievance aspect of my grievance, but it really is not a grievance, and it's really unjust to say that this is a problem. It's not. Mm-mm. It's not a problem at all. It's just, if I was to nitpick any one thing, I'm just not sure, to me, if the grievance aspect of this really adds a lot. I mean, it's fine playing with it, and it's okay. It's just one of those elements of the game that I'm just like, okay. I mean,
if this were a game on a scale of 1 to 10, BGG style, what would you give it?
I would definitely be, really close to 8.3 and a half.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm an 8 out of 10 on this one. And
no,
I don't even
good.
know why. It's almost because I think playing this over and over again would exhaust me emotionally.
Yeah.
Because it is tense, and there is a lot of angst going on, both in strategy wise, but also when you start, looking at what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
So it very well done.
Fun game.
This is a great one. It really is underrated. And if you're watching this and thinking about it, and it seems even intriguing at all, I would say get it. I have the first edition, and then I bought the second edition, and it's very difficult for me to find someone who would play this game like Jeff would in this kind of setting. So if you have someone that you play games that are tense, warlike games, or things, it doesn't have to be a war game, but a game where you're going at each other. If you watched our channel, you know that we have no problem attacking each other and ribbing each other about stuff. This is the perfect game for that. And when you bring it into the Halloween season type thing, or the witch type stuff, this game gets it right.
Well, and now I personally own a copy of the first edition.
You're welcome.
Because Mr. Fenny Rob here,
neighbor,
donated his first edition to me. And
you're still a witch.
So thank you.
You're still going to burn.
And I will say that my wife and I are going to be going to Salem in about a week and doing the Boston area stuff. And this is perfect timing for us to kind of get in the spirit and the mood of, checking out the fall and leaves and the witch trial and the witch museum. There's all kinds of stuff up there, I guess, related to this that you can go see. So we're going to do that.
Let the wifey win.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel.